Hello, hello, hello. Wonder people, how y'all doing? Um, hmm. Let me start by talking about my day a bit, so you get a clue into the person who's speaking. So it doesn't sound like it's a total stranger. It's been raining around here, which for me is a personal blessing, because we've been having some strange children, as I prefer to call them, because they're just not normal. Just play football close to on a almost abandoned land, but the owner chimes in every now and again, and they just kick the ball in to our compound, and then they would climb the walls. Yeah, you heard me. They would climb the walls in. Now the walls have broken bottles stuck in them, but they would climb it in broad daylight to pick up their ball. And like they make sure we're not seeing them. So we have things doing, so we really sometimes don't know what is going on. My mother has won them, and this is not just it's a place where people can see them, but nobody's just stopping them. I don't know what it is with modern day where kids are allowed to run amok. Like we moved from, let's not talk too much about it, it's so cute, to them really going out of hand, and nobody's just saying anything. Because I remember growing up, you can't try something like that. It's theft, it's trespassing. You understand? When you climb somebody else's wall, like climb, this is not this is a very high wall, okay? It's above 6 feet, way above 6 feet, right? And then they climb that wall in. So for me, the rain is a blessing, because it gets the place flooded. Yes, it floods everywhere else most times, but hey, I wouldn't exactly say I was praying for rain, but I thank God for it. I thank God for the peace that comes with it, even though it comes with mud and slippery floors. But hey, everything has its own downside and upside, I guess. So I went shopping today, and when I say I go shopping, I went to get stuff for the house. So for me, that's shopping, really. If you go out to buy things, you're shopping. I know shopping for some people is going to the mall or the supermarket, or to buy personal things like maybe shoes, bags, restocking or changing wardrobe. For some people, is going shopping, or just adding stuff that you probably don't really need, but you just want to splurge, But for me, I window shop. If I go out and buy something, I went shopping, okay? I went shopping. That's that's shopping for me. And of course, I don't shop without window shopping. I mean, come on. I love to window shop more than I love to shop. Because the best part is I feed my eyes. I go, wow. Oh, really? Oh my goodness. Like, I get to see new things. I get to experience new things without necessarily paying for it. And of course, I add it to my mental mental wish lists. Like, this is something I'd like to get one of these days, So let's just say I am mentally gathering up, filling up my cart for starting a new home with my beloved. well, when he does come. I don't know him yet as at the time of this podcast, okay? But anyways. So yeah, that means me going out. Like, it took a while. When I settle in somewhere, it takes me a while to get out of that comfort settling in, to actually move myself out of that. So trying to get dressed, it's more than just getting dressed and go out. I have to get myself psychologically ready and prepped to go out. And that could probably take 2 or 3 hours while I'm running around picking the things I need into my bag, picking clothes, styling my hair. It was interesting. Oh Lord. So and instead of me to start reading my Bible or praying, I just digressed into going on social media. Not interested. I wasn't even interested in going to YouTube to go and watch a movie or something. So I thought, let me go on Spotify and just listen to Megan. What's her name now? Windsor. I sometimes forget the name of her husband. Yeah, so like Meghan Markle Mountbatten Windsor. Yeah, all right, Megan. So I went on her. I started listening to her first podcast where she had a conversation with Serena Williams, and I just listened to a bit of it, and I was inspired that, you know what, I think I want to talk to. I want to say something. And I stopped listening. I will continue, of course. They were talking about ambition. I don't know about you, but have you ever listened or watched things and just pause so that you can have your own opinion about what you just saw or what you just heard? Well, that's where I'm at right now. All right. So they talked about ambition, and they were like, ambition was just like one of those things they were used to. It was the point of getting educated, of, getting into the workforce. Ambition, like, it was just a normal thing for someone to have, until ambition became like a dirty word, especially when it relates to a woman. And and she, of course, apparently has an experience with that. That is Megan, with her husband and everything. Like, I remember during the heat of this whole situation with her in-laws, as I would like to call them, her in-laws. One of these days, I am going to read what I wrote. No, I wrote it in a notebook, like write with pen and physical paper. Well, not physical paper, but my physical hard notebook, okay? So I wrote it in because, I wasn't really sure I wanted to post that out there. But I just said, you know what, on the day that I'm ready, I will read it into maybe a podcast or type it into my blog or something, But I think that time is probably near. That time is near. So I was just writing about what I thought about the whole thing, and it was, I wrote a lot of things. And for me, this is just like I said in one of my YouTube videos, this is just an issue between her and her in-laws. And as a Nigerian, you see, if you don't experience it, you don't pray to experience it, but you hear a lot about how women get persecuted. That's just the word. Persecuted by their in-laws, I think it's just a matter of mindset. Some people just feel that you should feel honored. No, you should be grateful that they married you, and they just feel entitled to sort of enslave you. So when I did that YouTube video, for me, it was beyond, all the nuances that came with what Megan had been through. For me, it was just something that was abnormally normal about how in-laws treat their daughter-in-laws in most traditional settings. And in Europe, or in this case, Britain, they're as traditional as can be. So, well, persecution of daughter-in-laws or the wives is just, they choose who to adore and they choose who to hate. You never can say exactly why this person is hated. Yes, they come up with all sorts of things, but you'll be like, wait, you're hating on this person because of this? Really? Are you for real? So she's been through a lot, and she's mentioned that her ambition, like when it became something that she was not supposed to have, she couldn't on experience, like she could not undo the fact that she has experienced the backlash of being an ambitious woman. And although I'm not going to continue from there, I'm just going to talk about my own personal view on ambition. And look, I'm not biased against people who are ambitious. I know amazing people, wonderful people who do great things and they're ambitious, maybe it's their ambition that actually even got them to do the great things they've done. I recognize that and I acknowledge that. But personally, I'm not an ambitious person. I wouldn't like to be around ambitious people either. I might be convinced later on that ambition is not such a bad thing. But anytime the word ambition comes in front of me, Macbeth is all I see. So for me, ambition and Macbeth go hand in hand. Like there is a sense of villainy that comes with being ambitious. Now, my mother insists that the problem is not ambition but over-ambition. She's like, how do you even live life? How do you get anything done if you're not ambitious? And I reply, you aspire and you go towards your aspirations. For me, I'm not an ambitious person. Like, I'm not. But I do aspire. The closest I may have gotten to ambition is fantasizing, daydreaming. That's about it. But aspirations, what I aspire for or aspire to is much more different to what I love. Or what was I saying? It's much more different from what I fantasize about, right? I fantasize about a lot of things that I wouldn't even want to talk about or say in public, things that I ought not to be thinking about, but comes to my mind anyway, and sometimes I entertain it, but when it comes to aspirations, it's a bit more, I aspire to be a podcaster, for example, and so when the opportunity came, I started. I aspired to be a writer, and when the opportunity came upon me, I began. right? I'm not there yet, but I just pray that God gives me time to actually fulfill all my aspirations in a colorful way, in a beautiful way that glorifies God. I really want to do that. I aspire to be a sportswoman even at my age, which is in my early 30s. Like maybe I just want to have my stint in sports. Of course, when you're into sports, you retire at the age I'm at right now. Latest by 40, you should be, trying to leave the stage when the vision is the loudest, sort of thing. At least that's what I heard. And I can understand in a way that you exert a lot of energy, so you age faster in a way because of the rigors that come with training to be a sports person, especially a sportswoman. I think I want to have my stint in sports, even if it's just for a year or two, and then maybe I just decide to move on to something else after that. And the sports I'm looking into, which is probably why I'm a little bit interested in Serena Williams, is lawn tennis. I think lawn tennis, though, is something I began to like and develop interest in because that was my dad's favorite sport. My dad wasn't really much of a sports person. I mean, he wasn't obsessed with sports. He was more like, book for him is what football is to a lot of people. Like some people are obsessed with football. They have t-shirt for it. My dad's own is books. My dad's own is books. Okay? He loved to read. He loved to read a lot. And just thinking about that right now, I laughed because I'm thinking about those they call bookworms and nerds. Nerds are usually not very, very good looking or they're good looking in a cute way, but they're not. It's like all they think about is book with a pencil stuck in their bushy hair or something with the glasses patched on their nose. But my dad hardly looks like a bookish person outside. He was stylish in a very laid back but official way. He didn't look like a nerd, so I never associated it was movies that opened my eyes to seeing that, there is a certain kind of look that is attached to people who love to read. My dad didn't have that particular look. No, he didn't have a swagger. He walked normally. He walked, like an office person, right? But he dressed well. He attended family socials, friends socials, but he reads a lot. He reads, that's his hobby, reading. And my dad, very handsome man, very, very handsome man. I took most of my looks I got from him. Yeah, So it was movies that just talking about my dad reading just made me think about nerds, and my dad didn't look anything like a nerd. That being said, so I was talking about ambition and aspiration, and for me, aspiration is just it for me. I just aspire for things and I go for them. Like I aspire to be a dancer as well. I aspire to, the sports I was mentioning the other time. I wanted to, I don't know whether fantasy, I'll put that under aspiration versus fantasy. So another sport is probably horseback riding. Like I love I love the idea of course. Then again, it's fun watching it in movies, seeing horse riding and stuff. But I think it's another different thing. Riding a horse, I guess. But if the opportunity comes, I'm willing to give it a try. Okay? So horseback riding, I might try my hands in that, and maybe polo, which is like a form of kicking ball while you're on a horse. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, let's face it, if you're going to play golf, at least do it on a horse, right? Hey, polo is like golf, except it's a bit like there's something about polo. I'm not really a fan of polo. It's mostly an Indian thing, but I think there's something interesting in it because of the horseback riding there. But it's a combination of three things. Number one, you have to be good on the horseback, and number two, you have to kick a ball with a stick while racing with other players on the field. And number three, it looks like golf on horseback riding, but it's like you're golfing with other people at the same time. Like you're kicking the ball and they're trying to take it from you, and like a football, but it's like 3-in-1 stuff. So maybe polo is something I might want to look into. It's just one of those things. Dancing, I like to know how to dance, like belly dancing, for example. I think I like that a lot. And maybe pole dancing. I don't know, we'll see. In any case, those are my fantasies that are edging a little close to aspirations, but they're not completely in my aspirations yet. But here is the thing. My issue with ambition is that ambitious people are often focused on their ambition, which isn't a bad thing. It's the obsession with the ambition that is the issue. Now, for me, aspiration is that you enjoy where you are at on the way to where you're going. That's aspiration. For in terms of ambition, there is no space for enjoyment. You just have to focus on your focus and keep focusing on your focus. And at times, it has this zombie-ish vibe to it when it comes to ambition, that they just keep going towards ambition without caring if they step on someone, without caring who they step on. And they just keep going as if that this thing is just pulling them. Like they're so... The focus is so... It's a bit controlled, right? That's the way I see it. Personally, I wouldn't date somebody who is ambitious. I don't know whether that's a good thing, but I'll see. I have my mindset, I will watch, but if I see anything that makes me uneasy about the ambition thing, I'm out. Because the thing about ambition that I also notice is that people don't think outside the box. If it's not going to help them go to where they're going, they're not interested. But for someone like me, who aspires, I enjoy everything along the way. It might take me a bit longer or not, to get to where I'm going, but at least I know that, I lived through the experience. I didn't just remote control myself through the experience without seeing the scenes and enjoying, everything that comes with it. Well, I'm just going to wind off on that right now. Maybe come back and talk about it later. I wrote on my blog on WordPress, Musings of a Sanguine Christian Woman, ambition versus aspiration. Maybe that's not the topic exactly, but I had written something about that. So you might want to check that out on WordPress, Musings of a Sanguine Christian Woman. So, let's do this together. Let's be more into reading the Bible, and because there is a lot to learn from it, a lot to learn, a lot to grow in it. There's something about it that when you read it, you'll be wondering, why am I not doing this often? Why am I not doing this more? Let's be a bit more into the Word. Let me put it that way. Well, until next time, guard your heart with all diligence, for out of it flow the issues of life. Take care and shalom.